Rome, sometime in the 1st century. A man wakes before sunrise, and the very first thing he does is put on a toga he scrubbed white with chalk. Not for a festival, not for a wedding. He's running for office, and that blinding white robe is basically his campaign uniform. The Romans even had a name for it. Toga candida. Whitened toga. That actually is where the word candidate comes from. And for the next several months, this man's entire sense of self-worth is going to hinge on strangers. Their opinions, their votes, their approval. Purchased one forced handshake at a time in a crowded, sweaty forum. Seneca watched men like this for decades. And here's the pattern he kept circling back to. In letter after letter, he chased the next title, the next promotion, the next thing that will finally make people take you seriously. And somewhere in the back of your mind sits this quiet certainty that once you arrive, the striving just stops. You'll relax. You'll have made it. Except that feeling of arrival seems to evaporate a little faster every single time you reach it. Nobody really tells you that part in advance. Think about the last time you actually got the thing you were chasing, the raise, the new title on your email signature. Maybe just someone finally being impressed by you, out loud, in front of people who mattered to you. Try to remember how long the good feeling actually lasted. A day? One evening. By the time you climbed into bed that night, some other itch had already moved in and taken its place. Something else you now apparently needed. Seneca has a name for this, and it isn't a gentle one. He calls it wretchedness, that simply keeps changing its disguise. Barely touched by the achievement, never actually resolved by it. And the reason, he argues, is uncomfortable. Ambition was never really about this specific thing you thought you wanted in the first place. So Seneca sat down and wrote an entire essay wrestling with exactly this. It's called On the Shortness of Life, addressed to his father-in-law, Paulinus, a man who was about to retire from running Rome's grain supply. And Seneca was more or less begging him not to waste whatever years he had left chasing one more responsibility, one more honor. Buried in that essay are 3 rules, still fully intact after 2,000 years, that explain why ambition never seems to fill the hole it keeps promising to fill. Rule 1. Your ambition, almost by definition, hands your peace of mind to somebody else. One man is exhausted by an ambition that always hangs upon the decision of others. Seneca wrote. Another, driven on by the greed of the trader, is led over all lands and all seas by the hope of gain. Read the first half again, slowly. Hangs upon the decision of others, not your effort, not your character, not the actual quality of your work. Some committee, some voter, some boss weighing whether you deserved the corner office, some faceless algorithm deciding if your work is worth being seen at all. You did the labor, and then, without really noticing the handoff happen, you gave the verdict to somebody else entirely. And that trader Seneca mentions, chasing profit across every sea he can reach, he isn't free either. Does swap one jury for another one. Customers, prices, weather, luck, the whims of a market he can't see or control. Same leash. Different hand holding the other end of it. Rule 2, and honestly, this might be the one that stings the most. Getting the thing you wanted does not end the wanting. It just relocates it somewhere new. Hope leads to new hope. Ambition to new ambition. Seneca wrote, "They do not seek an end of their wretchedness, but change the cause." Sit with that phrase for a second. Change the cause, not resolve it, not heal it. Just swap the excuse out for a fresher one. You never actually wanted that specific promotion. Not really. You wanted the discomfort to go quiet. And discomfort, it turns out, it is remarkably good at inventing a brand new reason to exist the moment the old one's been dealt with. Maybe that's why so many genuinely successful people, the kind who hit every single goal they set for themselves at 25, still can't sit still at 50. It was never really about the goal. That's the uncomfortable part Seneca keeps pointing at. And I'll be honest, I don't think most of us ever get fully free of it. You just maybe get a little better at catching yourself mid-chase. Rule 3. And this is the one Seneca clearly wanted to land the hardest. Whatever ambition eventually gets you, it was bought with the one thing you can never, under any circumstances, earn back. When you see a man often wearing the robe of office, he wrote, when you see one whose name is famous in the forum, do not envy him. Those things are bought at the price of life, not money, not effort even. Life, actual years, actual ordinary mornings, actual unrepeatable time with people who will not, in fact, be around forever. All of it quietly spent, acquiring a reputation that most people forget within a generation or two anyway. Seneca isn't telling you to stop achieving things. He's telling you to check the exchange rate before you agree to the trade. Most of us never even glance at the price tag until it's already been paid. So here's the whole thing stitched back together. 1. Notice how much of your ambition is really just borrowed judgment, sitting comfortably in somebody else's hands. 2. Catch the exact moment satisfaction arrives, because it will quietly slide sideways into a brand new craving if you're not paying attention. 3. Before chasing the next title, price it out honestly, in the only currency that's actually real. Your time. Your finite, non-refundable time. And here's the strange part. The part that makes this whole thing feel less like a lecture and more like a confession. Seneca wrote all of this while he was, by most accounts, one of the richest men in Rome. A fortune historians place somewhere around 300 million sesterces. Villas scattered across the empire. A senator named Suilius once stood up in public and more or less called him a hypocrite for it, preaching simplicity from gardens most emperors of the time couldn't have afforded themselves. Maybe that doesn't undo a word of what he wrote. Maybe it just proves how genuinely difficult this is to actually live, even for the one man who understood it better than almost anyone around him. If any of that landed for you, subscribe to Stoic Mind. Every week, we go straight into the original letters: Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius. No second-hand paraphrasing. Nothing watered down standing between you and the actual text. And maybe just today, before you chase the next thing on your list, ask yourself honestly, whose decision you're actually waiting on. Then ask what it's really going to cost you. Until next time, stay steadfast.